Greetings, kindred. How are you all doing? Wow, there's been a lot of stomach issues, headaches, just feeling drained, really. So, this Pluto energy has been very draining. I think I mentioned it in my Mercury retrograde or in my last video, I can't remember. But yeah, it has been a little bit ongoing. But at the same time, it's been pretty quiet and calm in certain ways. And I think make the most of this time, because even though the energies are still really intense, they're not as intense as what they have been earlier on in the year. And, there's still a lot of media attention out there, but it all seems to be kind of same old, same old. Do you know what I mean? And I feel this full moon is kind of a wrapping up, really, of the same old, same old. So, I think the Neptunian energy that's having effect at the moment is kind of taking us out of the reality of situations, which is probably a little bit helpful in some respects because it's given us a little bit of a break. But obviously, the energies are still intense. Many people are feeling really tired or depleted, even. So let's get into it anyway. So the full moon will reach its peak on July 10th at 21:36 in the GMT time zone, at 16:36 in the EDT time zone, and the full moon will reach its peak on July 11th at 6:36 in the AEDT time zone. So let's have a look at this chart. So we have a full moon will be at 22 degrees in Sagittarius. Now, again, this gives us a little bit of optimism, but there is, with the moon in Sagittarius, there is this strong attachment to our environmental conditioning, and that's in our growing up lives. So when it comes to our morals, our principles, our religious or spiritual values, that all comes under really the moon in Sagittarius. And 22 is a master number, but it really is a number where we have to overcome self-limitation to reach the heights of higher consciousness. So I feel in this respect, the moon really in Sagittarius at 22 degrees can kind of make us a little bit narrow-minded. There can be a little bit of arrogance there. The reason why I say that, or ego even, like we can be a little bit egoistical, and I will get more into that in a minute because there's other stuff going on in this chart that really does make me feel that the ego needs to be curbed in certain respects. So our moon is also in trine to Mars, who's in Leo. Now, Mars in Leo can be very egoistical, but it's also very productive, but it doesn't really like to move from where he's at. And because it's in quincunx aspect to Ceres, this can be quite a dominating energy. This is where, Mars is the ruler of Aries, which is the protector of the vulnerable. But in this instance, in this quincunx, he's not really dealing with any form of abuse in the right way, because I feel like this can be quite a bullying energy or intimidating. So we just need to watch out for that, because there is a lot of empathy, there is a lot of compassion flying around at this time, but it can also lead into more of it can be given over in more a dictational way. It's too pushy, basically. It can be an energy that's too pushy. We also have the moon in sextile to our goddess Juno here, who's retrograding through Libra at the moment. Now, Juno is the goddess of commitment, and Libra is all about partnerships. So with the moon in sextile, it's like we are very loyal and dedicated to whatever it is we value or we're committed to in the respect of like probably more either business partnerships or intimate partnerships. So there seems to be like a good energy there that encourages that commitment. But again, with the moon at 22 degrees in Sagittarius, we need to be careful that we're seeing the bigger picture, so to speak, that we're, opening up our minds to what roads this commitment will take us down. I mean, Juno is in trine to the North Node as well, who's actually just entered into Aquarius recently, but the North Node is also at 22 degrees. I feel in this respect, it's like we need to expand the mind, especially within in Aquarius. It's like overcoming those self-limitations to reach that higher consciousness that the North Node in Aquarius can offer us. And, the North Node is in opposition to Mars as well as the South Node. So again, it's just warning us that the ego can be too self-defensive with Mars in Leo or too over-caring. So we just need to watch out for that. I mean, we do have the moon in sextile to Saturn and Neptune. So, with the moon in sextile to Saturn, that can give us the patience and gives us good organization. We can be kind of level-headed with this aspect. But with the moon in sextile to Neptune, who's retrograding, we can kind of be led by our unconscious mind. And, we can be over emotional or, over empathic. So I feel it's all about feelings, not letting our feelings get out of control. There's got to be boundaries, basically. And I feel that with Neptune coming into conjunction with Saturn in retrograde, he's obviously reviewing that. Fortunately, Saturn is direct. So I really do think that we can get Saturn's wisdom. And at 9 degrees, I feel that Saturn is telling us to let go of something, to gain something. And I really do feel it's about our feelings, our emotions, our morals, our principles, and not that we should be letting go of them, but maybe they need to come under review. I don't feel this is a time to make important decisions in any aspect, especially since Mercury is in pre-shadow. And Mercury is also at 15 degrees in the sign of Cancer. So I do feel there's a lot of vulnerability at the moment. And I feel like, if we're coming across people that are opening up and showing us their vulnerable side, or if we're coming across that, because Cancer can be very, can hide their feelings pretty well, actually. But I do feel there's some kind of abuse here in this chart. It's like with the Ceres in quincunx to Mars and with Mercury in pre-shadow at 15 degrees in Cancer. I do feel there's an element of abuse or of something along those lines, maybe connected to children or young people or families, that really does need some justification. But like I said, this is not the time to make big decisions. I think just keep your eyes open, keep your mind open. I think that's the most important thing to do right now. Even though we have our own belief structures, I always feel it's good to always have room for new information, new ideas, or new ways of thinking, or new ways of being. or work on that. Standing strong in our spiritual values, but keeping the mind open. And we do have the moon in square to Ceres as well. So, we have this Mars in quincunx to Ceres, but we also have the moon in square to Ceres. Ceres is under a lot of pressure right now. So we do have a T-square actually, and it's quite a heavy one. So, we have the Black Moon Lilith who's in conjunction to Vesta in Virgo here. I mean, the Black Moon Lilith is flitting through 3 signs at the moment. Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. She's hitting Scorpio very soon, actually. So, this is where 3 signs can be affected by her energy. So if you have planets coming towards the end of Virgo, or in Libra, or at the beginning of, well, even just in Scorpio, actually, then, this Black Moon's energy is going to be affecting you. If it's your Sun or Chiron, it's going to be quite a heavy time for you. It's a very rebirthing energy, but it is a very heavy energy as well to cope with. And as we can see here, the Black Moon Lilith in conjunction to Vesta is in opposition to Chiron, and they're square Pluto, and the Sun is kind of opposite Pluto here. So I would definitely say watch out for dark thoughts. I would say that, there's a lot of emotional wounds surfacing at the moment. A lot of trauma is coming not into the light, but more into the dark, really. So, there's a very dark energy that's lingering at the moment. So many of us can feel like we're walking around with a dark cloud over our heads, or maybe there's physical illnesses that are affecting us. But I also feel it can be like either mental, spiritual, or actually all aspects: mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional. With the Black Moon Lilith in opposition to Chiron, it's a deep and intense emotional kind of breakdown energy. So we may see, mental health on the rise at this time. So I just feel that we just need to watch out for that. And this energy also really does deplete us. Yeah, it looks like the depletion of energy is still going to be ongoing for a little while. We also have a Chi aspect. Well, actually, is it a double Chi? I think it's a double Chi. So we have the moon on one side of the Chi, and we have the south node on the other. So this Chi is actually with the goddess Juno in trine to the sun, in trine to the north node, and back to Juno. So we have the moon on one side and the south node on the other. And it's an air Chi, so it's all about our mentality. And the sextiles, I mean, this is fire. They're both fire, so fire and air. And because they're in balance, it's like this is a really good combination of the elements, fire and air. So with Juno in trine to the sun, it's like, we take our commitments very seriously. And we also have the sun in trine to the north node, which is kind of intellectually creative. And with the north node in trine to Juno, this is like we're attracting the right peoples into our life, or we're having new doors open for us. Because there is a strong suggestion here that there is a need to move outside of comfort zones, especially with this Mars Leo energy here. So I really do feel like the planets are giving us the opportunities. They're sending in all that we need to be able to shift and focus and open our minds and get more productive, as long as we don't let the ego overrule reason. You know, this is a time as well of soulmate connections. But again, we mustn't fool ourselves into thinking someone's a soulmate without doing all the groundwork or letting time be the teller. You know, so I really think it is all about us keeping ourselves aligned, keeping all our chakra points aligned, keeping ourselves grounded. Definitely deep breathing techniques. If you're suffering with headaches or stomach aches, then drink some herbal teas. Try and avoid chemicals at this sign, especially with Neptune, the Neptunian energy, who's in square to Jupiter. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So we just need to watch out for overdoing it. And that can come in different forms. That can come in food, it can come in chemicals. It's something we can become obsessed with. Like the things we turn to for comfort are not necessarily always good for us. So maybe we need to look into that as well. But other than that, Kindred, that's all I can give you for this full moon. I have done the horoscopes and I have done the Mercury retrograde article, and I will link those below, whatever platform you're watching this on. Anyway, as always, I'm sending you peace and much love. Take care.